Last week I talked about my collection of soprano, or standard-sized ukuleles. Today I'm going to introduce my concert, tenor, and baritone ukuleles. I don't have anything especially upscale or antique on that side of my collection. They're mostly rather mid to low range. The concert and tenor ukuleles were developed during the 1920s and designed to be larger than the standard ukuleles and with a deeper tone, and possibly as a marketing ploy to make people think that they ought to buy more ukuleles. And sometimes it works. The soprano ukuleles are fun in their own right. They're small and light and feel like toys. The larger ukuleles, on the other hand, are heavier, but the larger size could make it easier for you to do some of the more complicated chord forms because your fingers have more room to spread out around across the frets here. The concert size ukuleles, they're also called alto ukuleles, are typically about 23 inches long. This is a Cordoba 25CK built by hand in Portugal in 2008. I've had it for about 10 years now, and it was one of two ukuleles that I had before beginning my big buying spree last year. It has a solid acacia koa top and back. The sides are probably laminate. Some cracks started forming on the top last year, and I glued it back together with super glue. And as I mentioned in my last video, I really should have been using Titebond wood glue because the super glue hardens immediately and you don't have enough time to clean up any excess. Anyway, it's holding together and is still very playable. My second concert-size ukulele that I acquired fairly recently from an eBay seller in Taiwan is this Alulu model number LLZTC. The top is solid spruce. The sides and back are solid ziricote, which is a somewhat unusual South American hardwood. The neck is solid mahogany, and the fingerboard and the bridge are solid rosewood. Between the two, I think that the Alulu is the better instrument. I noticed that the Cordoba 25CK is now selling for about $500 on Amazon, although I did not pay anywhere near that much for mine. And the Alulu ukulele cost me $100, including shipping from Taiwan. It arrived very nicely set up and ready to play, so I would highly recommend that you consider the Alulu brand if you're looking for a nice ukulele that won't break your budget. The tenor ukuleles are a little bit bigger, about 26 inches long, and Bruce Way sells a lot of very pretty instruments with nice inlay work, it says Aloha there, from Vietnam through eBay. This pineapple style is made out of solid koa all the way around. with some nice inlay decorations. Unfortunately, Bruce Way seems to have some serious quality control issues. I had to file down the edges of the frets myself. The fret edges were sharp and were scratching my fingers. And the ukulele was making some very bad buzzing sounds, which I resolved by tightening the tuners. One ukulele critic described the Bruce Way ukuleles as pretty ukes that sound like a cardboard box with strings, and I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't consider buying another one. This one still has a little bit of a buzz, which I might be able to resolve by raising the saddle a bit if I ever get around to it. My other tenor ukulele is this Cordoba 24T, which I bought recently. The Cordoba ukuleles are made in China now instead of Portugal. It has a solid cedar top. The back and sides are made of what they call spalted maple, meaning that the wood has been partially decayed by a fungus, giving the wood some interesting contrasting lines and streaks on it, as you can see. So here's this one. Between the two ukuleles, I would recommend the Cordoba. The Bruce Way is probably okay just for accompanying yourself on some songs, but no professional ukulele player is going to want to use one of those to play solos on a stage. Now, one thing that the soprano, concert, and tenor ukuleles all have in common is that they're tuned the same way. G, C, E, A, and usually with a high G called reentrant tuning, although you could get a G string tuned an octave lower called linear tuning. The baritone ukulele came out in the 1940s and was popularized in the United States by Arthur Godfrey during the 1950s. It's tuned a fifth lower than other ukuleles, D, G, B, E, just like a guitar minus the guitar's bottom two strings. Baritone ukuleles are generally about 30 inches long. I bought this Artist Limited baritone ukulele. You can see it says Artist Limited there, from shopgoodwill.com. When I got it, it was buzzing badly because the strings were too low, which is possibly why the instrument was donated to Goodwill in the first place. I shimmed up the nut with a piece of an old credit card up here, and now it works just fine. This ukulele was made in Japan, I'm guessing about 50 years ago, when Japanese factories were still making musical instruments. I'm guessing that it has a solid mahogany top and possibly laminate mahogany back and sides. It still has a pretty good deep tone, and I gave it the low D linear tuning, and it's fun to play. My other baritone ukulele here was made by Tsai, and it came to me about 10 years ago from Vietnam through an eBay seller. It's made of solid koa and has some really intricate inlay work done on it. See that nice pretty dragon there? And some inlay work on the fretboard. There's some cracks and separations started forming on the top last year, and I've glued it back together. Back when I bought this, some people were complaining about Tsai ukuleles on the internet. One of the complaints being that the wood wasn't dried out long enough before being turned into a ukulele, which might have been a contributing factor to the eventual separating and cracking. Still, I think this ukulele has served me well over the past decade, and I would recommend the Tsai over the Bruce Way if you were shopping for Vietnamese ukuleles in particular. I have this ukulele tuned with the high D re-entrant tuning as opposed to the low D on the other instrument. So that's it for now. Until next time, happy strumming.